My name is Puleng Mongale. I am a Johannesburg-based artist, and I make art. I use photography and digital collage, and then I create digital collage work. That's what I do for now. Prior to what I'm doing right now, I was in a 9-to-5 sort of like lifestyle, while trying to get a 9-to-5. I trained as a copywriter, so I worked in like advertising agencies. Like I've been a receptionist, a data capturer, a spelling coach. I think art is expression, you know. Whatever it is that you want to express. I mean, it allows us to express like a whole lot of things. So yeah, that depends on the artist, but mostly I think it's really about like expression. Expressing your thoughts, how you feel. It's also like, I feel like art captures a moment in time, you know, which is how I feel about like photographs actually. Because moments are always like fleeting, right? But sometimes you create something and it's a moment and there it is and it's tangible. So I feel like that's what art does. I mean, that's why I started creating, because I wanted to capture things in me or things that I was feeling and give them a moment, you know, and have them exist, like be tangible, you know. That's how I'd describe art. And I mean, it serves a lot of purposes, socially, emotionally, personally. It can go on to serve like those kinds of purposes. But for me, more than anything, art is expression. And it's about creating or capturing or immortalizing a moment, which can also be like a feeling. But yeah, that's what art is for me. That emotion, I want that feeling, I want that thought to be able to exist outside of me, right? And then once it exists, then there's a story to it, you know? It could be telling another story, it could be imagined, it could be real. So yeah, doing what I do and creating it on something outside of me allows for the story to live on. Because that's what art also does. Like it takes things and then it can make them live forever, you know? So yeah. My creative process, I don't think I have a creative process. People have asked me like, what comes first? Is it the collage or the photos? I don't, but obviously the photos come first. And then I create the images, and then afterwards, yeah, I create the collage. So I guess that's the process, because obviously I can't start creating when I don't have the images. But it's, yeah, it's really not, it's not a rigorous process. It's just, I freestyle most of the time. Because I always like to tell people that I let the work happen to me. I don't like to plan the work. I work best like on the spot. I don't plan like shoots for like a long time. I just get into it. And most of the time I know like it sounds crazy even to me. But yeah, I guess like
would you consider yourself an artist or a creative?
That's a tricky one. Because when I was working in advertising, I considered myself a creative, because I felt like I could dabble in like a lot of things, you know. And then I started creating like collage work and playing around with photography, and then I started considering myself an artist. So like I'm not very hung up on like the titles and things like that. I mean, in the world that we live in, vele, like with capitalism and things like that, people want to put certain names onto what you do and who you are, because obviously that dictates where they feel you ought to be ranked or how you should be ranked, you know. But yeah, I prefer the term artist, and it's as open as it can be. Like I'm not loyal to any medium. I'm not loyal to, I just want to create. So I don't know, I'd say artist. Oh damn, I don't know. I don't know, I'm just whatever, I don't know. Okay, so what inspired me to create is, well, I've always been like very expressive, like growing up, but I mostly did that through writing, and I would write poetry. Basically because I just didn't have like the exposure that I have now, so I always gravitated towards writing because that's something I enjoyed, writing and reading, and I thought I'd make a career out of that. But once I started getting into like the workspace, because I came in at a time where it was like, oh, are you creative? Because you know, when you grow up creative, or growing up creative, you don't really know like which avenues to explore, you know. So I just knew that like I was creative, but I didn't know where it could take me or what I could do, you know. And then I got into where I was trained to be a copywriter, and so how it was like in the program that I was in was that, okay, you are creative, did you know you can work in advertising? So I was like, okay, I'll go and work in advertising, let me try that out. And then I did. But when I was in that space, I didn't feel like I was expressing myself in the ways that I wanted to. I didn't feel like the work I was doing within that space had any impact for what I was trying to do at the time. So every time I like left a job, I'd go and then do like a little passion project, you know. Then that's when I started experimenting with photography. At the time, I couldn't take my own images, so I worked with like other photographers around me. So I did a first series, and I worked with Umuzi and Bantu on that one. And then that's when I first started to understand how things could be. And so I took on the role of art director. Then I discovered like photography as a medium, and then that's when I did like my first photo series with Umuzi and Bantu. But even after I discovered like photography as a medium, the work that I was doing demanded to be more and more personal, you know. And that's when I guess self-portraiture like started for me. So and then I guess what inspires me to do the work is that's like, okay, what inspires me to do the work? This is getting tricky. Okay, to just like express myself. Like I said, I've always been expressive, and I feel like, like many people exist in like this body, right? My body might exist now, but it's not like the beginning and the end of its existence right now. And I pretty much feel like a vessel, you know, for the kind of stories that I tell or the kind of things that my work speaks to. It's very spiritual work, some which I don't always have the answers to, but I allow myself to surrender to whatever feeling there is, like serious, like tsamakamoya. Like that's basically what I do. And more than me trying to send out a certain message about the work that I'm doing, I allow the work to teach me. I allow the work to give me messages as well. So I don't create from a point of, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what I want people to think, this is the message. I don't create according to that. I literally just surrender, and I allow the work to create itself through me. So that's what keeps me going and keeps me doing this work, because I've detached it from it being completely about me, and I've just sort of like gotten to a point where like and then I allow whatever messages that come to me to happen. And that's what inspires me, because my work teaches me things as well.
So would you say, because to me it sounds like it's more spiritual to you, so just go in depth, like what is spirituality to you? Like if you had to explain it to someone in a layman's terms.
Spirituality.
Yes.
Okay, for me, what spirituality means is having an understanding and a knowing that you are connected to everything that is, you know, and that was, is knowing that you are just like an element of something bigger and something greater than who you are or think you are. It's also an understanding that you are also connected to, I don't know, but like to something bigger, man, to something that is not just about you and the physical and the superficial and the now. It's understanding that there's definitely something, a bigger force that drives your life, you know. You are part of history, you are part of the present, you are part of things that are also yet to come. Things seen and unseen. And for me, that basically is what spirituality, that's what it means to me, you know? Yeah. Being part of a bigger picture. I mean, my spirituality is what keeps me grounded. That has existed way before my work has ever even existed, you know? I mean, I've had like sort of an upbringing that is very like fluid. I can't say I was like very much into religion or raised in a church or anything of that matter, because I wasn't. And I can't say that as well I was strictly raised as somebody practicing like African spirituality. That is not the case. I'm from a very fluid background, you know, where nothing is opposed and nothing is denied, you know. Just because my like we won't dismiss that that person ever existed, because we've got this understanding that life began way before like the people that we think we can point out and say this was my great-grandfather or whatever. We come from so much more, you know, in terms of lineage. That's why I'm saying like things that are not even seen, you know, and you can't dismiss that they ever existed or that they do exist just because you haven't seen them with like the naked eye. And that's also something that I've also come to realize with like spirituality and being an African, that you don't have to just commit to one thing, because that's, life is not like that. Even your blood flows, you know. You're not just one linear thing, you know. And that's what I've always struggled to grapple with, like as a human being, like which parts of myself do I commit to. But the beautiful thing about like being African and being spiritual is that I can give my time to all of them. I can open my heart to all these things that make up who I am, you know. So that's what keeps me grounded, knowing that there is so much more that I also don't know, and having that, an open heart for all of those things, you know, things that I may not even understand. And yes, my spirituality has existed way before my work ever has, you know. It's something that has always been a part of my life, like growing up. And yeah, man, it's like it's in my blood. It really is. Because on a spiritual is like, oh, utwasit, oh, ungaka, oh, like profita, oh, I'm none of those things, you know, like, so I find it very difficult to try and express my work in a form ya I can be a medium, because I've got that insecurity ya I ke motho o trainilweng, I ke motho o ileng lefehlong, I ke motho o entseng, but also like what my work is also teaching me is that you don't need to, you are a spiritual being, period, by the fact that you are alive and you are here. Uphidiswa ke moya, you know. So I don't know why we always feel like we need to have the bones tell us, we need to have like Tamaya, you know, all of those, because not all of us are going to go through that journey, but that doesn't mean that you are not spiritual in any way, because if you are born, then you are. There's definitely a spiritual element to you, because then how else? Because you are not just flesh, you know. That's why there's food for the soul, there's food for the flesh, and all of those things, because clearly we are made up of so many parts of ourselves, you know. And I feel like with Africans, we've always been pressured to just like pick a side. It's either you are a Christian and that's it, or it's either you're gonna do African practices and that's it. But no, like, we are fluid, you know? And why must we be in anything that forces you to choose? Why must you do that, you know? So, yeah, I feel like we are just spiritual beings, you know, and I allow myself to tap into that part of myself when creating the work that I make. Well, I always think I know what I want to create. Always. I always, like, you know, because also like living in like social media age and whatnot, and you see like all these other artists and the things that they create and whatnot. And I mean, yeah, that happens to me. Obviously, where you're like, shit, this person is doing some, like, you know, like futuristic shit, and like, I should try that and whatnot. But my work always brings me like back down to earth, because that's not what then happens, you know. Because I always say, like, when I did start creating and whatnot, I wanted to do like this cool trendy work, like, you know, showing my life like in Joburg as a young person and being fashionable and being, you know, and all of those things. But my work had a different story for me, you know. I thought I had an idea of what I wanted to create, but once I started creating, the work literally morphed its own life, and there was nothing I could do about it. And that's what I mean about like to surrender, because each and every one of us here has a certain story to tell. We've got certain messages to bring, and yeah, creating has helped me stick to that thing, because like I'm saying, I'm influenced and I'm inspired by like so much content out there and so many people creating all these amazing things. But I guess the reason I'm inspired is because they also in their lane. They also doing the work that they are meant to be doing. So I also just started adapting the same thing, like stay in your lane and create the work that you are supposed to be creating. And that's exactly what my work has allowed me to do. That's my reality, you know. I don't think as somebody who creates things, you can create from like an external place, you know. I create from a like internal place, I'd like to believe. So the things that I do express in my work are things that are close to me, and the things that are real to me, they like what I'm saying, like my reality. I am from a background of like black working class women, you know, and growing up, like those were the realities that like influenced my upbringing. So when I do create in that way, I'm not necessarily trying to like give a voice to the voiceless or whatever, because I feel like those women do have a voice when I'm with them, because that's how I get to know the stories, you know. Just because it's just a matter of like it's not being documented or it's not being written down anyway or whatever. But I mean also, now I'm gonna say this thing again, as Africans, that's how history has always been passed on to us. It's always been like a very oral thing. And I'm a like I'm that person. My mom talks a lot, like all the things that I do. And that's the thing, you know, just because things are not written down or things are not documented or archived or whatever, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. Because whatever portion of my family history that I know through the stories that my mom and I chill and just talk about. And she will tell me about how she grew up. She will tell me about certain family members that I never got to meet. She will tell me all of those stories, you know. So I don't think that they are voiceless. I don't think that the women who raised me and things like that are there's no way. You see the impact on me in everything that I do, from the way I clean my space to the way I speak to my strong views to how I stand up for myself and all of those things. I feel like had they been like voiceless or whatever, then that impact wouldn't necessarily be there. But I understand what is meant by like women who can't speak for them, because the media is not focusing on them and things like that.
Like just, you know.
The South African creative industry.
Yeah. And how artists could have a better, you know, a better way of how, you know, something that, you know, they could help certain creatives or artists, how they can have it better. I know it's a very,
I think the South Africa, yeah, that's a very broad question, hey? And I mean,
how is it like you coming from looking at how, let's say, for example, musicians, you know, how they used to rely on record companies. Right now you can literally have your own music, like Shapley has his own, you know.
I feel like, oh my God, I don't know, but I feel like the South African creative industry it's anti-black. Yeah, no.
Would you want me to say this, put this on the video?
I don't know.
Please say that. I've learned, because I don't want you to say take this down.
No, I think.
I don't want that shit. Don't say things that.
No, but definitely, Giyu, I think it's anti-black, you know, and in spaces where black people are being included, they're not being accommodated, but they're being included, you know what I mean? And I'll say this mostly because I've experienced the creative industry mostly from like an advertising perspective. So that's still very much like a lens through which I like navigate my space as like a black artist or a black person who is creative and trying to find work in like creative spaces. I mean, also we can't ignore that the whole reason I also even like gave up on the industry in terms of advertising was that, like the anti-blackness of it all, you know, because yes, they'll say it's black because now they bring in more black people. But you look at the positions that the black people even have, you know, where there'll be like 20 of us and let's say 15 of us are black, but 5 white people are like our managers, you know, but all the black people, yeah, man, it's like, yeah, they say they will include you, but they're not, and they're not accommodating you, and they're not doing the work of like the unlearning that needs to happen more in their behavior and in their attitudes, you know, for black people. Because, yeah, no, that's what I just always felt. And in cases where we are being included or whatever, you have to also assimilate. You have to be a certain kind of black person, you know. And I worry about that as well, like even about like for artists and the work that we do create, you know, where it's like you have to be pushing a certain kind of story, even for them to think that your work is worthy or you are tackling topics that are like relevant and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, I think it's anti-black. That's what I think. It takes a lot for us to survive in this industry. It takes a lot. And it's not even about how talented you are, how smart you are, how qualified you are. Those are the things they say you need in order to be good at what you do, but it's a lie. It's a lie. Yeah, I said what I said. It's anti-black.
Right, so that was intense. That was intense. I mean,
it takes a lot for us to survive, Giyu. You know this, and we work hard, bruh. We work hard. We work hard, and that's not what the issue is. They tell black kids that all the time, like work hard, get qualified, do this, get this accreditation, do that. But we get all of them, dude, and nothing changes. Nothing changes. So it's fucking hard. So yeah.
What advice would you give to a black creative who is trying to make it in the industry?
The advice that I would give to like young creatives or just creatives in general out there, black creatives, is mobilize yourselves. I know how to use a camera because my friends taught me. My friends who are creatives taught me, you know. I know what dope shit looks like because my black friends show me. They taught me, you know what I mean? So use your friends, and I don't mean it in that way, but I mean like make use of each other, you know, and that's how you create a team, and that's how you create a community, and that's how you can move forward. Because even now the studio space that I am in, there's Sharply, and he's like multidisciplinary creative, and there's Dudu, he's a photographer, and there's me, and I'm an artist, and but even our surrounding studios, there's Abu Sesh, they are also the visual artists and making clothing, and all of the, like, everybody. And once we get together as like black creatives and we create our own networks and we make each other the network, actually, when you start saying this is my friend Mang Mang and this person can do dope shit, I feel like that's how we are going to survive. When we start pulling like to work together, you know, things will definitely change. Because like I'm saying, like my creative career has been so short, but there is no part of it where I managed to get to the next step without the input of my friends who are in the industry, you know what I mean? So let's do that, and let's put each other on, and let's just fucking mobilize, you know, and then eventually bit by bit we'll start to claim our own space. And not even to say whatever the galleries are, whoever the big people are that whose names we should know, but we will be ourselves and it will be enough, you know? Because I think every time when we try to like mobilize ourselves, we want to be known by certain people who we think are like the industry dogs and whatnot. Actually, even if we never get to that space, we'll have our own space, because the big thing is for us to be able to make a life through the work that we're making, you know? That's what we want to do. And if we keep that in mind as well, okay, cool, there's being cool, there's all of this, but actually we're trying to make a life out of this. We're trying to be secure economically, you know? And if we always keep that in mind and we come together as a collective, I think things will definitely get better in that way.
What advice would you, like, what is it that keeps you like sane? Because I mean, the things that you've been saying about oppression and all that, what keeps you sane as a creative?
What keeps me sane as a creative?
Yeah, in terms of your mental health.
In terms of my mental health.
Yeah, like what makes you like, you know, like picks you up?
Am I even sane, babes? Am I even? Because, yeah, I'm always going through, yeah, the girl is always, I mean, I've battled with depression like my whole life. I don't even know if I'm sane. I don't know. It's tough because, yeah, no, like I said, I do struggle with depression. I struggle with anxiety a lot. It's debilitating sometimes. But luckily for me, I've got like, I've got great friends. I've got a great support system in terms of like my partner and my family unit. And I always have somebody that I can talk to, you know. I always have somebody checking up on me and things like that. And I guess that's how I keep myself in check. Having friends who really care, man. You know, people who can spot when you are not okay, when you are not your usual self. Those are the things that have helped me. So those are things that have helped me stay sane. And also, I just want to say, like, with mental health, you know, it's like any other illness. You need to inform yourself so that you can be empowered. So you need to learn your triggers. You need to do the emotional work. When Vuiswa said, in terms of like depression, that she's gotten to a point where she can't separate it from like having a healthy intuition. She feels like that's my lana. So also that's how I also try to approach like depression, because it's also your mind's and your body's way of telling you that something is in need of your attention right now. You're not feeling well. Why are you not feeling well? get into that, like what is going on, you know. So those are one of the ways in which you can empower yourself when you are somebody who struggles with mental illness. So instead of always going from a pity point of view, also use that time to sort of like dig deep into the things that require your attention. Those things, they could be emotional, spiritual. So depression also, when it does come, sometimes, because it's different every time. I mean, I've known for like 10 years now that I struggle with this thing, but every time it comes to the fore again, it's different, you know, and it's pointing me to like different things. So once you learn about your illness, once you know your triggers, once you know like the signs of when you are not well, then you empower yourself. And that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to not look at it as like from a, oh, poor me, like what is going on with me, you know, type of thing, like why is this happening to me type of thing, to being like, okay, let's get a pen and paper. What has been going on? What are the things you are not happy about? What are the things that need your attention right now? What are the things that you need to work on? How you can then, because then it becomes, because then I'm involved in my own healing. Then I'm making a decision to be well, you know? And that's the thing about that kind of illness. Like it's so, it takes so much out of you that, but it's possible that you can live with it and have like a good life.
Like, you know, some people do art for living, right? And some do it for love. So the first question would be like, what is love to you? Like not the romantic. When you say romantic,
okay.
What is love to you?
Well, me.
Come sit here. Come sit here with me.
Okay, love to me is, yeah, the sense of being held, you know, a landing place. That's what love is for me, where I can be chosen over and over and over again, you know, or seen to be deserving, like over and over and over again. It's like I was telling you, this week like was very like tough, you know, and I had a friend of mine be with me like throughout that, you know, and yeah, dude, and she showed up for me over and over again, you know, and it's not like I hadn't been through that time before, but I have, and she knows how it goes now, and she's always been there. So for me, I'd say, yeah, being given your space when you need it, that's love for me, and being held when you need it, that's love for me.
So what is freedom to you?
What is freedom to me? Do I even know? Can I even afford to think of freedom? What is freedom to me? I can't say even that's what you. I can't say
freedom is coming to.
I can't say even that's what you. I can't say be serious.
So when you creating your
freedom.
art, when you creating your art, don't you feel free?
I don't know. I haven't thought of it in that way. Do I feel free? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what is freedom. I'd be lying if I said I know. I don't know yet. But for me, freedom would be being able to live out exactly who I want to be, exactly who I'm supposed to be, and not having to worry about all these other things in our society that put so much limitation, you know? The working thing and having to make money thing, that limits us in like so many ways. How many things do we not do? How many things do we put aside because we can't afford not to do them because we're not making any money out of it? So definitely a part of you there in return is oppressed or suppressed because it can't afford to be existing right now, because then you are living in this world that treats you like currency. And if you are not contributing, then, but basically for me, what it would look like is me being who I want to be, being who I'm supposed to be, carrying out my life's purpose, and not having to worry about bills and racism and and just all these things that are just happening in this world. I mean, I don't have the political terms of it, but all this nonsense that is just getting in the way of people being who they are supposed to be. If I didn't have to worry about any of that, then I could say that would be freedom for me.
So would you consider yourself, like I know you've answered this, but so that I don't forget that I should ask, would you consider yourself would you consider yourself, because people do art for money and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you do art for?
I do it for my own healing. That's why I do art. That's why I do art. I do it for my own healing. I do it because I feel like this is what I'm born to do. I do it because I feel like this is my life's purpose. I do it because I feel like this is a gift from the Lord and from my ancestors. And I feel like I'm doing it because I'm continuing a family legacy. I'm doing this because it's in my DNA. This is who I'm supposed to be. This is the work I've been born to do. And that's why I do what I do. I wouldn't endure all this suffering just for fun. This is definitely tied to who I am. It's in my blood. That's why I do what I do. It's my gift. If there's anything I am sure of in this world, that is one of the things that I am sure of.
You laptop and everything, but like you're literally out there and creating. What is that thing? That thing that is inside you that makes you create?
I have to think about this one.
Don't say tomorrow.
But I mean, I feel like that thing that drives me to create, like what I said, like it goes back to that. Like this is what I was born to do.
That's a big answer.
This is what I was born to do. It goes back to that, honestly. A life outside of that. I don't see a life outside of that. I don't want to lie, and I know like it's risky for me to be saying this, but I'm only 29. And like I've got like lots of years ahead of me, you know. But like I said, man, this is what I was born to do. I can't think of anything else. I mean, it's been a long journey to get here because like I said, I started with writing and all these other things, but all of those were not like a mistake. They were all leading up to where I am right now. So that's the thing that I've always been committed to that thing, just in different forms and in different ways. And that's why I'm saying they all add up now that I'm here at this point, you know. And this is not the end. This is definitely like also another beginning of like some sort of like artistry or how the work will evolve. But put me anywhere and whatever, that thing that drives me to create is that. It's in my blood. It's who I am.
So has motherhood changed you?
Definitely. Motherhood has changed me a lot. Definitely. Definitely, man.
Does it sort of like maybe has anything with your art, or you don't have, it doesn't affect anything now?
Not really, but if anything, my son's existence taught me to value time. You know? Vusa was saying to me the other day, it's like, yo, dude, it's like, anything that you see and you want to learn, you hop onto it, you know? And she was just like, I guess so proud of me that I do that. I used to be a very like hesitant person, you know? And I feel like definitely, dude, my life is not like a series of coincidences, like for real. Like also, when it took me this long because I only picked up a camera when I was 28. I feel like there's a reason why it took me so long. And as a person living with anxiety, I never wanted to attempt anything in case gaflopa. Like literally my anxiety would be so debilitating that it would prevent me from even trying anything out. But ever since I had a child, I'm just like, fuck that shit. Like, because he taught me the value of time. I always thought I have enough time. I will get to it. I will learn this. I wish. I was always daydreaming, like wishing I could be this person, wishing I could do that. And then he came along and took all of my time. And then I was like, what? And then he started going to daycare. And I was like, this is time. Now this is time. And I can't just let this time go by. Like, this is the time he has given me. It's 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You gotta do something. You have to do something, babes. And that's what I did. So my son has taught me that, the value and the importance of time. And that's when also I started like creating like unapologetically. And I was like, I'm gonna do this thing because this is the time that I have. He's not here. When he comes back, I don't have time anymore. So that's what my son has definitely done for me. Taught me to value my time and my peace of mind even more. So yeah.
So if I had to not ask you any question, what would you say in the camera? What do you feel like you're going to say?
Maybe a message for like other creatives? Okay, I'd say to other creatives, oh dude, I say this all the time and I feel like it's important, like don't stop. Don't stop. Like, it's hard for everyone, you know. It really is. Like, it's very, very hard. I mean, so many times I've gotten so close to being like, damn, this art thing, like, fuck this thing. Like, I don't have money for my bills. I don't have money for like anything and whatnot. And it's very tough, you know, because I think people see you on like social media and everybody's talking about you and whatnot. And people think that maybe for some reason that, but I just want to say like, yeah, dude, we're all having a hard time, you know, and it's not because you're less talented, it's not because you're not cool like other people or things like that, but like just don't stop, dude, because I feel like the work that we do is definitely a calling, and people like us are important. Our careers are important. The work we do is important, you know, but don't stop, like, don't stop, because then when you stop, then you're dead, you know. And I've gotten so close, like, even I'm saying this right now, but I'll probably go home tonight when I get a message about some bill I have to pay, and I will contemplate leaving and stopping this thing that I'm doing, but I can't, because then that's the death of me. That's the death of like my life. So don't stop, like, keep going. You need to keep going.
Thank you. Any plans for the future?
Money. That's my plan for the future. I feel like I'll take a whole year and not create and strategize on how to make money, and not like make artwork like that year, just dedicating it to like the business side of things. I feel like I need that kind of year in my life where I'm just like making money moves, you know? Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. It was really awesome.
Thank you, Kiyo.
Who I'm with. You guys see this? See this?
What the fuck?